let's read another paragraph. Let's see how far we can get. I think we can finish this paragraph from Pastor MacArthur and begin to draw this part of our study to a close. He goes on to say, these are in MacArthur's words, there's a lot of talk these days about conferences between Jews and Christians, and certainly we want to love them and love them from the depths of our heart. Notice he's not really backpedaling, but he is in all fairness saying that there is an evangelistic need to reach out to unsaved Jewish people. He continues, we want to bring them to the knowledge of the truth, but whenever there is a conference between Christians and Jews, these are his words, I think the Christians are obligated to tell the Jews that their religion cannot save them. Now, again, at face value, if you're just talking about salvation based on doing a list of do's and don'ts, well, then this is true. That simplistic straw man perspective or caricature of Judaism is, in fact, sad. The ages-old Christian notion or idea, perspective that Jews are keeping the law so that they can be saved, that they believe in a simplistic ladder to heaven, a legalistic perspective whereby they think if they just keep the law of Moses perfectly 100% of the time or something like that, then God will let them into heaven or something. It is true that that perspective is misguided, and you can't work your way into heaven. There's no legalistic perspective that God is going to find acceptable. So if that is the caricature you're drawing, then let's destroy that caricature. Let's work from that and apply the fix where needed. Okay, that could be true. He goes and say that's what we ought to say at the conference, right? Your religion can't save you. The Messiah has come, and by his death and resurrection, he offers forgiveness and salvation if they will abandon their hope in their own works and in their own traditions and leave that religion behind. Okay, stop. Here's again where I take a lot of issue with what Pastor MacArthur is applying here. He's equating the misunderstanding in Judaism of Yeshua's day as well as Rabbinic Judaism today. He's equating the misunderstanding of God and God's laws, and he's conflating that with the idea of Judaism as a whole, so that it's necessary to uproot the whole system altogether and throw it all out and start fresh, right? Reboot it. And bring in Christianity, as if to say that the lifestyle and standards that God is expecting of his people now that Jesus has hit the scene is radically different than what God gave Moses when he gave the laws at Sinai. And this is where I think the disconnect takes place between Christians such as Pastor MacArthur and those who follow after teachings like his. And I'll close with this tonight. The law of Moses, as given by God, is a pure standard. It's a righteous standard, and it is the standard that God expected his people to uphold. Therefore, by the power of the Holy Spirit, it is a lifestyle that is achievable. It is a standard that is expected and can actually be implemented by God's people. The key being, if your heart is pure before God by the power of the Holy Spirit and allowing your eyes to be opened by faith, if the ingredient of faith is active in your life when you encounter the law of Moses, then you are going to accept the Messiah found therein in the pages of the law of Moses, right, in the pages of the Torah, and you're going to walk down the path that God intends for you to walk down. It then becomes obvious that Yeshua doesn't need to teach a different standard of righteousness. He doesn't need to explain to you that your religion needs to be left behind if, in fact, the religion that you're following is the religion that God has already dictated. As I'm closing with this, the way that Pastor MacArthur's spinning it, though, it's as if Jesus is contradicting the standards that God his Father laid down. Are you seeing that? So, unless, and again, I concede with this, if Pastor MacArthur simply leveling his accusation against Rabbinic Judaism as a religion, what he would call Rabbinic Judaism, in opposition to biblical Judaism. I haven't seen any distinction in his writings that indicate that that's what he's referring to. He seems to kind of conflate. What I mean by conflate is kind of mixed together without any noticeable distinction. He's really conflating the idea of biblical Judaism and Rabbinic Judaism. He's mixing the two together as if they're just one religion. I myself am making a distinction between the two. And so if that's the case, if he is making a distinction, then yes, Rabbinic Judaism was quite corrupt by Yeshua's day, and Yeshua had to rip that program down and dismantle it, and to help them to return to the pure version of Judaism that his father had described in the pages of the Word. Let me conclude Pastor MacArthur's words here. He states by saying, no mixture of the gospel or any other religion is possible. It is absolutely unique. Speaking of Christianity, it is grace and grace alone. End. And so, what do you think? Those of you watching this YouTube video, listening to my iTunes podcast, what do you think? Do you think that Judaism and Christianity are incompatible with one another? Do you think that Jesus came to start a new religion and Paul picked up the ball and ran with it? Do you think that the law of Moses is out and that the law of Christ is in? Do you think Christians are no longer under the law of Moses? Do you think that Jewish people who come to faith in Jesus need to abandon their religion known as Judaism and embrace this religion known as Christianity? Tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to interact with you. But that'll do it now for this look at Judaism v. Christianity.